Hey there, this is Josh Vector from Limbo CMS coming to you today to talk about productive efficiency. Productive efficiency, or just PE, is an important metric because it helps teams to make decisions about how to make the best use of limited resources. If we think about it, in a manufacturing environment, the stakes are just too high not to use your resources wisely. There are many limited factors like input material, asset performance, labor efficiency, and product quality. In this video, I'll cover the basics of productive efficiency calculation and give some advice on how teams can start improving manufacturing production process. Let's start diving into the concept of productive efficiency. I know that the world of economics is not something most facility or plant managers concern themselves with every day, but it is very important to learn about and very important for manufacturing efficiency particularly. Productive efficiency is what connects the macroeconomics, so the big picture like overall cost savings and market needs, to the microeconomics, so the little things like saving a few minutes during every changeover of manufacturing. Productive efficiency is all about using limited resources to their fullest potential. So making waste is at its lowest point possible. Just like other economic efficiency measures, resources are central to the idea of PE. They are limited. In your company or in the world, really, there is only so much material, energy, labor, equipment, capital, and technology. And these limited resources force us to make decisions about the quantities and types of products we make. The goal is to use our inputs efficiently so we can create products that best meet the needs of the people who eventually end up using them. So productive efficiency metrics can be applied to any industry that has finite resources. Now let's take a more specific look at why organizations calculate productive efficiency. Calculating PE gives teams an easy to understand number or score that can be tracked over time. This calculation also helps to balance the production process, produces the highest amount and quality of outputs, and minimizes average total costs. If that doesn't tick the boxes on your buzzword bingo card, I don't know what will. Jokes aside here, having access to this score gives you an idea of how efficient teams are with the resources they have, and that is the gateway to making significant improvements in your process. Now we'll dive into the actual calculation process. But before we can calculate anything, we need numbers. Numbers actually measure things. These metrics are actual output rate and standard output rate. The actual output rate is the number of products you can produce in a certain period. Naturally, to get your actual output rate, you'll need to have the number of products and the amount of time it takes you to produce them. For example, if you produced 100 pairs of shoes yesterday during your 18-hour shift, your actual output rate is 5.56 units per hour. The standard output rate is very similar, but the standard you set for productivity is your goal or ideal. How long should it take you to make the same amount of products if your process was running at peak efficiency? If our process was designed to make 100 pairs of shoes in 16 hours, it brings our standard output rate to be 6.25 units per hour. And once you have these two metrics, calculating the productive efficiency score will be simple. It's the ratio of your actual output rate to your standard output rate and looks like this. In this case, since the actual output rate was 5.56 and the standard output rate was 6.25, our productive efficiency would be 88.96%. If you're looking at a single production process for one type of item, this single score can tell you a lot. You're doing well, but there's still plenty of room to improve. Now let's go ahead and add a twist. What if you needed to make more than one kind of product? How do you choose to divide your resources and remain as resource efficient as possible? That's where production possibility frontier comes in. We'll zoom out, way out for now, to look at the bigger picture when we need to make more than one product. The production possibility frontier, or PPF, has lots of different names: production possibility curve, PPC, production possibility boundary, the PPB, or even transformation curve. Don't worry about remembering any of those words, but it's good to be aware of these terms. When you come across them, remember that they all are talking about the same thing, the PPF. Let's take a look at this graph. Productive efficiency is much easier to picture when represented graphically on a production possibility frontier. The curve shows various combinations of the amount of two goods that can be produced with the given resources and technology. The company with the PPF shown above can be maximally efficient with many different scenarios. Point A on the graph shows that more boots are produced than shoes, but there is no waste. Point B shows a company making about the similar amount of boots as shoes, but just a moderate amount of both. Point B is still on the curve, so no resources are wasted. And point C on the graph shows more shoes produced than boots, but there is still no waste. And point D is showing that with available resources, you should be able to produce more shoes or boots. There is waste somewhere in the process. Some resources are either idle or misallocated or both. Point E is unattainable with available resources. The company would first need to make investments to increase production capacity. As you can see, there is a real robbing Peter to pay Paul concept underlying the PPF. Both product lines share the same inputs, labor, and equipment. So the more resources the company spends on product A, the less it has left to produce product B. Since there is a limited amount of resources that are shared between the two, the allocations of resources must be thoughtful. There's a lot of fancy math that goes into creating that PPF curve. You likely don't need to know and probably do not want to know the details of all of it. Still, you might be wondering how to choose the amount of each product to make and how to arrange your production processes to produce the ideal amount of each product. The answer to that lies in the allocative efficiency. Let's briefly go through the concept of allocative efficiency and see how it differs from the productive efficiency, while PE refers to the efficiency of your process. Allocative efficiency refers to how you allocate your resources efficiently across multiple products. The guiding light that helps you determine how to make those allocations is customer demand. If you make an athletic shoe sponsored by a famous basketball player, it will likely be in very high demand. If your other product is a sensibly priced pair of loafers, you have a decision to make. While there's nothing wrong with the classic loafers, your resources are much better used in the product that more people will buy at a higher price. And that is true even if it costs more to produce that athletic shoe. When you allocate your resources correctly, the marginal cost of making more of the product will be worth the marginal benefit to the people buying it. So you need to allocate your resources so that you can make products in volumes that match market demand. Okay, once you have the productive efficiency score, what do you do with it? The goal is to improve it. Many organizations use metrics like overall equipment effectiveness to find precisely where waste is happening. That is similar to how maintenance teams use MTTR and MTBF to track their performance, but goes much deeper. Those more complex calculations take a little more time, but they give you a lot of directions if you want to improve. However, if you do not want to dive into all of that, or if your organization just is not ready, there are still changes you can make that garner major improvements. The first thing is to standardize your production processes. Manufacturers can start by standardizing core processes on a single shop floor. And when they're ready, they can go ahead and expand it to other floors and facilities. Standardization of the production floor can include everything from the layout of the production lines to how you enter asset information into maintenance software to how you execute visual inspections during quality control. This is a great use of a CMS like Limbo that guides your team through maintenance activities using work orders and established checklists. Second best practice is to find and eliminate production bottlenecks. That's a great way to increase your productivity without buying more equipment or hiring more people. You can often find bottlenecks in the production line, in the supply chain, or in employee operations. Search for areas or equipment that have the longest queues and most consistent backlogs. Look for machines that already work at full capacity or those that have high wait times. One by one, your efficiency will improve. You can also implement proactive equipment maintenance. That's a big one in terms of results. Unexpected equipment downtime is one of the biggest causes of manufacturing inefficiency, yet most breakdowns are preventable. The easiest and most effective way to shore up your preventive maintenance strategy is to use a good CMS like Limbo. The fourth best practice is to invest in employee training and engagement. Staff members who are disengaged and unmotivated lower your productivity. Paycheck and working conditions are one piece of the puzzle, but are not the only factors here. One of the most meaningful ways to engage your team members is by investing in them and their skills. Employees want opportunities to grow their skills and to advance their careers. The fifth best practice is to identify and reduce waste. We can't talk about reducing waste on a production floor without talking about lean manufacturing. I won't go in depth on lean manufacturing techniques to avoid going off topic here, but if you want to research them later, the most popular ones include Kaizen, Six Sigma, just-in-time manufacturing, Kanban, and total productive maintenance. And I'll add links to blog posts on these techniques in the description below the video. Another thing you can do to improve your PE score is to optimize plant layout using cellular manufacturing. In many traditional MFG settings, similar types of machines are grouped together. Turns out spreading out your process like that can waste a lot of time and energy. Instead, you should break down the production process into steps and arrange workers and machines into cells based on those steps. Optimizing your inventory management is also a best practice. You need the right parts at the right time in order to avoid lengthy breakdowns or expensive shipping costs. There are a few different ways to do that, but in most cases, a digital inventory management solution is needed. For spare parts, for example, you can use a CMS with a parts management module. It'll help you track parts usage and forecast inventory levels based on past data for a marginal cost. And for large operations, they can help you save money by making the most of economies of scale for parts you use frequently. The last best practice I'll cover is to build relationships with your vendors. If vendors fail to do their job, you can end up dealing with the prolonged production delays that are difficult to fix. Reduce these risks by building long-term relationships with proven vendors. And believe it or not, your CMS can actually help you here too. Limble has features to keep track of your vendors and their deliverables. With that, let's go ahead and take a look at the role of maintenance in achieving productive efficiency. PE is a measure that should be on the wish list of any production line. Getting the most value out of your limited resources is good for all stakeholders and an effective maintenance strategy that helps to achieve that. As you begin to measure productive efficiency, you may find that your maintenance strategy is one of the stumbling blocks holding you back. Poor maintenance practices can quickly cause downtime and inefficiency. Proactive maintenance plays a crucial role and provides a lot of other good things too. It will improve your productive efficiency score and offer significant additional benefits. If you start measuring efficiency, you can expect to minimize waste in the short run, paying dividends in the long run, making ultimately more informed decisions about how much of which product to make, when, and pinpoint your place on the PPF, so the graph that we took a look at earlier, in scaling certain products up or down while remaining efficient, and much more. Also, keep in mind that productive efficiency is a great launching pad for more sophisticated types of efficiency calculations and continuous improvement activities. If you want to get started, then feel free to go ahead and try Limble's features for free, which help here. I guarantee that will make the implementation much easier. And I hope this video has helped you with setting the foundation of productive efficiency. And feel free to comment if you have any questions or have any suggestions for future videos as well. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel and like the video if you enjoyed the topic here that we covered. And with that said, I'll go ahead and see you in one of the following videos where we'll learn about more maintenance strategies to level up your maintenance game. Cheers.